Let's start off this semester by talking about goal setting. Goal setting is not only important for us as individuals. As we progress as young professionals, we will need to set goals, determining what areas we want to work on and continue improving as young professionals. But also for our patients. We set goals frequently with rehabilitation following injury, which we will discuss during this lecture. Subjective goals are general statements of intent, such as having fun or doing your best. Objective goals is attaining a specific standard of proficiency on a task, usually on a specified timeline. Outcome goals are focusing on competitive results of an event, such as beating someone or winning. Performance goals focus on achieving standards of performance or objectives independently of other competitors, usually making comparisons with one's own previous performance. Process goals focusing on the actions an individual must engage in during performance to execute or perform well. These different types of goals can help us to accomplish different tasks. So understanding that we can use different goals at different times is incredibly important. Outcome, performance, and process goals all play roles in behavior change. The key is knowing where to focus each goal. Do not focus all of your attention on outcome goals. Outcome goals can facilitate short-term motivation but often lead to anxiety before and during competition. We would like to use a combination of all three types of goals: the outcome, performance, and process goals. Performance and process goals are more precise than outcome goals and are less dependent on the behaviors of others. Performance and process goals are particularly useful before or during competition on rare occasions. Too much focus on a specific performance goal, for example, running a personal best, can create anxiety for an individual. Process goals have all the advantages of performance goals. Subjective goals are not the focus of sport and exercise psychology research, but they are useful. Considerable attention has been paid to subjective goals in the literature on personal productivity and applied business management. We can identify and clarify our personal values and priorities via subjective goals. We can then link these subjective goals to specific objective goals. Research in business and general psychology have shown that goal setting works extremely well in enhancing performance. Goal setting effectiveness has been demonstrated in 20 countries in studies with more than 40,000 participants using over 90 different tasks. Meta-analysis, which is just a statistical review of the literature, shows that goal setting works to enhance performance and physical activity behavior. In sport and exercise psychology, goal setting has been shown to work well in sports, although not quite as well as it does in business. Almost all athletes use some type of goal setting to enhance their performance. The top 3 goals for collegiate athletes are improving performance, winning, and enjoyment of the activity. Athletes prefer moderately difficult, and very difficult goals. Major goal barriers for collegiate athletes include a lack of time, stress, fatigue, academic pressure, and social relationships. Major goal barriers for Olympians include lack of confidence, lack of goal feedback, too many goals or conflicting goals, a lack of time, work commitments, and family and personal relationships. There is a gender difference in goal setting and use. Women set goals more often and find them more effective than traditionally do men. Athletes most often do not systematically write down their goals, which means that they're keeping their goals in their head They may not be sharing them with others, and they certainly are not writing them down. The more experience athletes have with goal setting, the better they are at developing effective goal-setting strategies. Athletes set goals to provide themselves with direction and to help themselves stay focused. Athletes using multiple goal-setting strategies exhibit the best performance, and individual differences must be considered. There is not a universal goal that works for everyone, so setting individualistic goals is extremely important. Virtually all coaches set goals for competition and practice, either for individuals or the team, as well as personal coaching-related goals. There is a good deal of variability in coaches' understanding of the principles of goal setting, as well as in the frequency in which they used goals. Coaches reevaluated their goals frequently, and coaches dictated some goals and got input from the players about others. Although coaches used performance, process, and outcome goals, they tended to favor performance and process goals. The main reason for setting goals was to provide purpose and direction, followed by player improvement and fostering team cohesion, especially for team goals. Goal barriers were seen as physical, such as injury to an individual, psychological, such as lack of confidence, and external, such as parental over-involvement. The most important aspect of goal commitment was personal enjoyment. The only disadvantage to goal setting was seen when goals were set too high or produced consistent failure, such as a team being in a losing streak. Coaches set both short and long-term goals, but focused more on short-term goals that provided feedback on the progression towards meeting the long-term goals. Just like athletes, coaches too were inconsistent in writing down their goals. Indirect thought process view. Our goals influence performance indirectly by affecting psychological factors, such as anxiety, confidence, and satisfaction. There's a direct mechanistic explanation that specifies that goals have directed attention to the important elements of the skill. They mobilize performers' efforts, prolong performers' persistence, and foster the development of learning new strategies. Goals influence psychological states. An athlete who sets performance rather than outcome goals has less anxiety and more confidence and satisfaction overall. Many of us have learned from bosses, seminars, teachers, coaches, or business articles to set SMART goals. It seems natural to assume that by setting a goal that is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound, we will be well on our way to accomplishing it. S is for specific. We want to set specific goals. We need to consider the participant's personality and motivation. We want to foster an individual's goal commitment. A specific goal has a much greater chance of being accomplished than a general goal. To set a specific goal, you must answer the 6 W questions. Who is involved? What do you want to accomplish? Where? Identify a location. When? Establish a time frame. Which? Identify requirements and constraints of the task. And why? Specific reasons, purposes, or benefits of accomplishing the goal. For example, a general goal could be to get into shape, but a specific goal would say join a health club and work out 3 days a week. M is for measurable. Set moderately difficult but realistic goals. Develop goal achievement strategies. We want to establish concrete criteria for measuring our progress towards the attainment of each goal that you set. When you measure your progress, you can stay on track, reach your target dates, and experience the exhilaration of achievement that spurs people on to continue effort required to reach their goal. To determine if your goal is measurable, ask questions such as how much, how many, and how will I know when it is accomplished? A is for attainable. Set long and short-term goals. Set performance, process, and outcome goals. When you identify goals that are most important to you, you begin to figure out ways that you can make them come true. You develop the attitudes, abilities, skills, and financial capability to reach them. You begin seeing previously overlooked opportunities to bring yourself closer to the achievement of your goals. You can attain almost any goal you set when you plan your steps wisely and establish a time frame that allows you to carry out these steps. Goals that may have seemed far away and out of reach eventually move closer and become attainable, not because your goals shrink, but because you grow and expand to match the goal. When you list your goals, you build on your self-image. You see yourself as worthy of these goals and develop the traits and personality that allow you to possess them. R is for realistic or relevant. Set mastery approach versus performance avoidance goals. We want to set practice and competition goals. To be realistic and relevant, a goal must represent an object towards which you are both willing and able to work. A goal can be both high and realistic. You are the one who can decide just how high your goals should be. But be sure that every goal represents sustainable progress. A high goal is frequently easier to reach than a low one because a low goal exerts low motivational forces. Some of the hardest jobs you will ever accomplish actually seemed easy when you look back simply because they were a labor of love. T is for timely or time-bound. Provide yourself with goal support. Provide evaluation of and feedback about goals. A goal should be grounded within a time frame. With no time frame tied to it, there is no sense of urgency. If you want to lose 10 pounds, when do you want to lose it by? Just using someday probably won't work. But if you anchor it within a time frame, let's say by May 1st, then you've set your unconscious mind into motion and begin working on the goal. Your goal is probably realistic if you truly believe that it can be accomplished. Additional ways to know if your goal is realistic is to determine if you have accomplished anything similar in the past, or ask yourself what conditions would have to exist to accomplish this goal. T can also stand for tangible. A goal is tangible when you can experience it with one's senses, that is, taste, touch, smell, sight, or hearing. When your goal is tangible, you have a better chance of making it specific and measurable and thus attainable. Do not forget to record your goals. Things are more likely to happen when we write them down. Set specific goals. Specific goals compared with general, such as do your best goals, are much more effective for producing behavior change. An example of a general goal might be to reduce cholesterol, but a more specific goal, for example, might be to reduce cholesterol from 290 to 200 by a certain date, and also adding in information on how you're going to do that. Are you going to walk every afternoon? Are you going to go onto medication? How do you measure this? We also want to set moderately difficult but realistic goals. Our specific goal of reducing cholesterol from 290 to 200 by a certain date, is this realistic? Well, chances are we're probably going to need a specific time frame. If we're saying we're going to do this in a week, that's probably not realistic. So having a good time frame is incredibly important to the realism of the goal. Now, being able to reduce this number from 290 to maybe 280 within a shorter period of time, that might be more realistic. So that time frame is incredibly important to the realism of our goals. One area where we might see the application of goal setting is following an injury. The rehabilitation team or therapist sets both short-term and long-term goals for each problem. Setting goals is the best way to achieve a successful rehabilitation outcome. When starting rehabilitation or physical therapy, it is important to incorporate the patient in the goal-setting process. Together, you must think about what it is that you want to accomplish and what it is that the patient wants to accomplish at the end of the program. Goals are often very individualized, but then again, so too is the rehabilitation process. Both short and long-term goals should be set for the patient. Short-term goals are set to provide an immediate and achievable target. Long-term goals are set to help people understand what they can expect from rehabilitation and where they can expect to be in several months. So short-term goals are much shorter, usually just a few weeks, if even that. Long-term goals are usually a few weeks into months, and sometimes even years. We want to use our goal staircase that link long and short-term goals. For example, a person with a hand injury may have restricted range of motion and weakness. The short-term goal may be to increase the range of motion by a certain amount of degrees and to increase grip strength by so many pounds. The long-term goal is more aggressive, and it may be something like playing the piano again. People are encouraged to achieve each short-term goal, and the team closely monitors the progress towards the long-term goal. The goals may be changed if people become unwilling or unable, due to financial or other issues, to continue, or if they progress more slowly or more quickly than expected. Set performance and process goals as well as outcome goals. For every outcome goal, set several performance or process goals that will lead to the desired outcome. In many situations in lower extremity injuries, the goal may be to help people walk again and to enable them to engage in daily activities that they need to do, such as dressing, grooming, bathing, feeding themselves, cooking, or shopping. Regardless of the severity of the disability or the skill of the rehabilitation team, the final outcome of rehabilitation depends on the individual's motivation. Some people delay recovery to gain attention from family members or friends. This is an example of the staircase method for setting goals for a group of 8 to 11-year-old figure skaters. This may be something that was set by the individual athletes themselves, but more likely was established by the coach. This method includes a progression of more difficult short-term goals and the long-term goal of going from the first test award to the second test award. The steps in between are the short-term goals, such as progressing from the first test award to the first loop jump combination, and then from the first loop jump combination to the camel spin with 6 revolutions, and so forth, until we get to the second test award. The mastery approach versus performance avoidance goals. A mastery approach, for example, improving my time in a mile run by 5 seconds, as opposed to a mastery avoidance, for example, don't run the mile slower than last time, can be used. We can see how the mastery approach is a little bit more positive, and the mastery avoidance is a little bit more negative in nature. We also have performance approach and performance avoidance. Performance approach, for example, may be to finish in the top 10 of the race, versus performance avoidance, which is don't finish in the bottom half of the field. Research suggests that one should focus on mastery approach goals, goals about what you want to accomplish relative to your own performance, and avoid goals that focus on failing to attain task accomplishment, such as mastery avoidance goals, and not losing or not performing well in comparison to others, such as performance avoidance goals. We want to set practice and competition goals. We want to record our goals. Ink it, don't think it. Develop goal achievement strategies. Strategies may include how much and how often things will be done in an effort to achieve a goal. We need to remember to be flexible, however. There are certain factors that come in that we may not have anticipated when we originally set our goal. We have to be flexible enough to be able to change our goal as life comes around. Consider participants' personalities and motivations. Consider factors such as achievement motivation, either high versus low achievers, the stages of achievement motivation, social comparison, task or ego orientation, and the dispositional hope when setting goals. Motivational climate also influences goal setting effectiveness. We want to foster an individual's goal commitment. We would like to provide goal commitment by encouraging progress and providing consistent feedback. We want to solicit the athlete or exerciser's input in goal orientation as well. Provide goal support. Enlist support from significant others to make goal setting effective. When we have support, we're more likely to follow through and provide ourselves with a good environment to work in. Provide evaluation of and the feedback about goals. Goal evaluation and feedback are essential parts of facilitating behavior change via goal setting. Here are some examples of goal evaluation. There are different strategies that we could use based on the different goals. For example, a goal of losing 20 pounds in 6 months. Our goal evaluation strategy could be the client informs the fitness instructor of their weight each week, or maybe you even weigh in front of the fitness instructor if that's what you feel comfortable with. Another goal might be increasing our free throw shooting percentage from 65 to 72% by the end of the season. One goal evaluation strategy could be the team manager charts free throw percentage statistics after each game and calculates year-to-date free throw averages. Another goal may be to attend injury rehabilitation clinics 3 days a week until recovery. One goal evaluation strategy among many could be attendance is posted weekly at the rehabilitation center, and the coach is also notified of attendance. With this one, we have to be careful of HIPAA compliance, so we don't want to share this information with anybody that shouldn't have it. Another goal could be to improve concentration levels during practice. A goal evaluation strategy could be the coach gives players weekly report card ratings regarding practice concentration on a low 0-point to 10-point high scale. Our last goal could be to improve class cooperation in an elementary school physical education class. Our goal evaluation strategy could be the teacher tallies cooperative acts on behavioral checklists during each week and charts the improvement of various classes on a gym bulletin board. Hope involves the thinking process whereby people have an overall perception that goals can be met and that they have the skills to go about achieving those goals. People high in hope have a sense of goal-directed determination or agency and planning of ways to meet goals and labeled pathways. Trait and state measurements of hope have been found to correlate to psychological adjustment, achievement, problem solving, and health. There is a hope-based Power 4W goal-setting system. The 4 W's are wish power, want power, way power, and will power. Wish power is identifying dream goals. Want power is realistic short and long-term goals that lead to one's dream goal. And lastly, willpower is the determination and discipline required for working towards a goal and overcoming obstacles that arise while achieving them. Goals do not just have to be individual. They could also be group goals as well. The future state of affairs desired by enough members of a group to work towards its achievement is considered a group goal. Attaining specific standards of group proficiency, usually within a specific time. We need to establish long-term goals first. We want to establish clear pathways of short-term goals en route to the long-term goal. We need to involve all members of the team in establishing team goals. When we have buy-in from everyone, we're more likely to achieve that team goal. We want to monitor progress towards team goals and reward any progress made towards the team goal. Fostering collective team confidence or efficacy concerning team goals can help the whole group move forward. Goals can be set in many areas, including individual, team, and psychological skills. There's typically 3 stages to designing a goal-setting system. Stage 1, the instructor's preparation and planning. This assesses the abilities and the needs. We can set goals in diverse areas and identify influences on goal-setting systems, such as the athlete's commitment, potential, and the opportunity for practice. In this stage, we can also plan goal achievement strategies. Stage 2 is the education and acquisition stage. We want to schedule meetings and focus on one goal initially. Lastly is Stage 3. This is implementation and goal follow-up and evaluation. We must identify appropriate goal evaluation strategies, provide support and encouragement, and plan for goal reevaluation, which may bring us back to Stage 1. Goals can help us to accomplish the things that we want to. However, like everything else, there are some common problems with goal setting as well. Convincing students, athletes, and exercisers to set goals in the first place can be difficult. We may fail to set specific goals, and therefore they become general and harder to achieve. We may also set too many goals, or we may not have the right timeline for our goals, and we expect to see results too soon. We may also fail to adjust to our goals. Remember, there are factors in life that happen. Life happens. So we have to be flexible so we don't get bent out of shape. That allows us to readjust our goals, reassess, and replan. We may also fail to recognize individual differences. We may not also provide goal follow-up and reevaluation. Sometimes, like in the case of injury, we might have to reassess and change our goals. Keeping a positive outlook and attitude will help to make those goals more attainable and can help with the rehabilitation process. Remember, no goal is 100% perfect, but as long as it is individualized and meaningful for the individual, it is more likely to be achieved. We can gain a lot from our goals, so we work hard and we focus on what's important to us.